You know, machine learning and AI, they're literally changing everything. But there's this huge bottleneck, right? Who's actually teaching the teachers? Well, we found a blueprint that's designed to solve that exact problem. It's all about upskilling educators in one of the most powerful fields on the planet. So let's dive in and see exactly how it works.
And that really is the big question, isn't it? If we want the next generation to be fluent in artificial intelligence, their instructors have to be confident and capable first. But let's be real, the barrier to entry can be crazy high. All that complex code, it's intimidating. So how do we fix that?
Well, the solution might just be something called a faculty development program. We're going to break down a real-world proposal that tackles this challenge head-on. And we'll start with the most important question. Why is a program like this so incredibly necessary?
Okay, so what is an FDP anyway? The easiest way to think about it is like a professional boot camp, but for academics. This isn't just another boring lecture. Nope. It's a structured, super intensive training designed to give them new, practical skills they can turn around and use immediately in their own classrooms and research labs.
So who is this for? Well, it's laser-focused on the very heart of the academic world. The faculty members who are shaping the curriculum, the PhD scholars who are pushing the boundaries of research, and all the research staff who make it happen. See, by training this group, the whole idea is to create this awesome ripple effect that just lifts the entire institution's game.
And this quote, man, it just nails the whole point. The goal isn't to just learn about machine learning from a textbook. It's to get true hands-on experience. This program empowers educators to actually use these tools for their teaching, for their analysis, and for their own cutting-edge research. It's about doing, not just knowing.
All right, so that's the why, but what about the how? I mean, how on earth do you make a field famous for its complexity accessible in just a couple of days? Well, you use the right tool. Let's take a look at the software that makes this whole thing possible.
And this, right here, is the game changer. On the left, you've got your traditional machine learning. It's code-heavy, complex, and has a super steep learning curve. But on the right, that's the approach this program uses, with a tool called Orange Data Mining. Instead of staring at lines and lines of Python code, you're literally just connecting these visual blocks, kind of like building with Legos, to create a workflow. It's that simple shift that just demolishes the barrier to entry, making machine learning accessible to everyone, not just the computer scientists.
So with this awesome new tool in their hands, the program kicks off a 2-day journey. And day 1 is all about learning to see and understand the language of data. It's the foundation, right? Before you can even think about predicting the future, you first have to decode the present.
So day 1 is all about building a foundation, step by step. They start with what's called exploratory data analysis, or EDA, which is really just a fancy way of saying, let's see what we're working with. From there, they learn to simplify complex data, map out connections between different categories, and finally, use clustering to find hidden groups you'd never see otherwise. Each step is like peeling back another layer of the data story.
And a massive piece of this whole puzzle is visualization. Instead of just staring at a spreadsheet full of numbers, these educators get to use tools like these to actually see the data. Like a box plot can instantly scream, hey, look at this weirdo data point over here, which could be a mistake or a huge discovery. A heat map can reveal these subtle connections between two things that were completely invisible before. It's all about turning numbers into actual insights.
Okay, so day 1 was all about understanding the data we have. Day 2, well, that's when things get really interesting. The focus shifts from understanding what the data is to predicting what it will be. This is where the magic of machine learning really comes alive, actually building predictive models.
Day 2 is all about building stuff. They start with decision trees, which are basically just smart, rule-based flowcharts. Then they move into regressions to predict probabilities and forecast future values. But, and this is so important, building a model is just step 1. They end the day learning how to rigorously check if their predictions are actually any good, because a model that isn't accurate is pretty much useless. So, how do you grade your model? For predicting a number, you use metrics like these. Think of R² like its report card grade. It tells you how much of the story your model successfully explains. Meanwhile, RMSE and MAE are a little different. They basically tell you, on average, how wrong were we? They give you a concrete number for how far off your predictions are from the actual answer.
Now, for something like telling spam from a real email, things get a bit more tricky. Accuracy is simple. It's just how often were we right. But precision asks a more specific question. Of all the emails we called spam, how many actually were spam? And then recall asks, of all the real spam that came in, how many did we actually catch?
The F1 score kind of smushes those two together to give you one balanced number. Getting this stuff right is absolutely key to building AI you can actually trust.
Okay, so 2 intense days later, what's the bottom line? What's the real payoff here? This is where we see this crash course turn into a practical, usable skill set that can change how these educators work.
And get this, the entire transformation happens in just 10 hours. 10! That's it. This is not some long, drawn-out theoretical semester. It's a concentrated, 2-day dose of practical knowledge designed from the ground up for maximum impact in minimum time. It just goes to show you don't need months to get started.
And it's not just what they're learning, it's how they're learning it that matters so much. This is not a lecture series. It's super hands-on. We're talking live demos, the instructor guiding them through the visual workflows, and everyone getting their hands dirty with real data sets. It's learning by doing, from the very first minute to the last.
And all of that, it leads to one thing: empowerment. See, the ultimate goal here isn't just about teaching a piece of software. It's way bigger than that. It's about giving these educators the confidence and the skills to bring machine learning into their own work, to ignite that curiosity in their students, and to help build a more data-literate world.
So let's leave you with this final thought. A program like this does more than just train a few faculty members. It fundamentally changes who gets to participate in the AI revolution. When the tools become this intuitive and the training becomes this accessible, it really makes you wonder, who gets to ask the questions and build the models that will shape our future? The answer maybe is everyone.